Who wants to be a truth teller and a witness bearer for love and justice? That's what the cross is about.
Nothing means nothing.
Nothing means nothing. What do you mean by that?
I'm talking about all the way to the top, yeah. Unjustifiably in a position that I'd rather not be in. But the cream will rise to the top, oh yeah. My true madness has got more to offer.
Welcome to Legends Vanity Project. Don't adjust your color settings. I am a Mexican. I'm an atheist, but not by choice. I wanted to believe in God. It just didn't work out that way.
A certain kind of atheism is always healthy.
Amen.
Yes, sir. Because what atheism does, it at least cleans the deck. Yes, because it claims that all gods are idols. And most gods are idols.
Yes, sir.
It's just that the prophetic traditions, be it Judaism, Islam, or Christianity, are tied to this God of love and justice. But because we live in a society in which idolatry is so ubiquitous, you view life as a gold rush. You end up worshiping a golden calf. And the golden rule becomes only those who have the gold will rule.
Most of my family is Catholic, but church was never my thing. To this day, the only prayer I know is Padre, Hijo, Espíritu Santo. Some of the few words I can say in Spanish without sounding like Selena Gomez.
Hasta me duele la pinche vulva nada más de acordarme de ti.
Mexico was colonized by the Spanish, who did a genocide in the original inhabitants of Mexico. They also replaced their beliefs with Christianity. They used the Virgin Mary to convert many Aztecs, as they already had a very similar goddess named Tonatzin. I totally butchered that. Tonatzin was quickly replaced by the Virgin Mary after the Juan Diego myth spread over time. Most conversions to Catholicism were not voluntary. At best, those conversions were manufactured. Around the same time, Catholicism had become extremely vicious and corrupt, as now you can buy your way into heaven, causing people who actually believed in the teachings of Jesus to split away from the Catholic Church. Some who eventually colonized North America that gave birth to the modern American Christianity that has also become very vicious and corrupt.
You turned this country over to the fags. You did it aggressively, you did it proactively, you did it in 1,000 different ways. Now they're coming home in body bags.
Here in America, crazy Christians are mostly under control. But it wasn't always like that, as the same witch trials did happen here. Lynchings inspired by religion still happen today, but mostly in poor countries where Christian missionaries had taught them how to hate gay people and accuse women of being witches. The only reason it doesn't happen here still is because we have laws, and people like me that will pull out a blicky.
That's right, gang member.
I genuinely wanted to believe in God, and deep inside, I hope there is one. And some of the worst people in the world will finally pay for all the harm they caused. But I doubt it. Somehow the worst people in the world get treated like kings and live to 100 years old, while most of the working folks like myself won't even make it to retirement. Somewhere along the way, around 2012, I became an atheist. I stayed in the closet for a while, but I have been skeptical of the existence of God since childhood. I thought I must be the one that's wrong, since I'm the only person that doubted a hippie-looking white guy watching everything I did.
So a lot of folk who've lost faith in God, it's a very healthy thing because the God that they've lost faith in was probably an idol anyway.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And the challenge becomes, are you still open enough and vulnerable enough in your soul to be open to something bigger than you that's connected to a love and justice, to honesty, decency, and integrity?
I needed to take charge of my own life and quit hoping for a miracle. And atheism did that for me. While watching atheist and political videos, I came across Michael Brooks.
He said, love without power is sentimental and anemic, and power without love is abusive and corrosive. I'm paraphrasing. And that was when I saw it, I thought, Well, we know the left-wing Dr. King. Well, here's the Machiavellian Dr. King, and I love it. I want the left to have Machiavelli so that we can have the strategy, the ruthlessness, the clarity to actually win these battles and be ruthless with institutions. And then I want us to learn how to be really kind to each other, welcoming of a broad set, and actually have a movement that has the capacity to do that.
He said we shouldn't give the monopoly of the soul to the right wing. And I do feel like I have a soul. My soul is the empathy that I feel for the less fortunate. My soul is the love that I have for my wife and kids.
There's always room for family.
My soul is what makes me hate capitalism. Sadly, we lost Michael Brooks in 2020, but his message lives on with folks like Hassan, Mac Legg, and myself, for whatever that's worth.
What I get that I hope is in the realm of answering your question from this Dr. King clip was left-wing, spiritual, but also with a vision of power. And if we can synthesize those things, I think we will speak to the highest impulses of this country, we will be welcoming to people, and we will win.
If you need something to believe in to get you by, I completely understand. It can get difficult, especially for the working poor under late-stage capitalism. And our eventual deaths can be scary to cope with. If faith in God helps someone feel better, who am I to judge?
We know, despite all appearances to the contrary, that they were going to bite the dust and to do so comprehensively. It is to know that despite all appearances to the contrary, goodness, right, matter, that the God we worship is a God notoriously biased in favor of the weak, of the sidelined, of the oppressed.
I no longer have anything against anyone's religious beliefs, unless they try to use those beliefs to infringe on other people's lives. Then we have a problem. See, I'm one of those socially liberal cats, but I'm also fiscally a socialist, so I have bigger fish to fry than arguing about the existence of God. Religion can become a problem, especially when used by con men that will sell you a solution to whatever problem they made up.
One day, Jim was teaching, many years ago, on Revelation, and he said, the reason you'll take the mark of the beast is because you're hungry. Your children are hungry. Your grandchildren are hungry.
I hear them crying. I've heard them crying for years. And God said, what will we do? What will you do if these babies are starving?
Religiosity can also make people more vulnerable to alternative beliefs. Like JFK Jr. landing his plane at Dealey Plaza, maybe Elvis riding shotgun, then America will be great again, Hillary will go to jail. Which, Hillary should be in jail, but for completely different reasons. Not some QAnon or some made-up body counts. There are real dead bodies she is responsible for, but mostly in the Middle East, Haiti, Africa, places where people with most hogs don't give a shit about.
Yes, we came, we saw, he died. Did it have anything to do with your visit? No, I'm sure it did.
A mix of conspiracy theories and hateful propaganda have ruined the promise of the American dream. While people are realizing the decay of our society, they were fooled into choosing to blame minorities, the Illuminati, and eventually the Jews. Therefore, losing sight of what's really going on. Many con men have taken advantage of our elderly and those with mental health problems like mine. Some folks will believe anything that justifies their fears, anxiety, and depression. Things that come with the everyday struggle of living under capitalism.
Of the week of summer, third job. Women can't afford to take care of their children, feed their children breakfast, lunch, and dinner. My main job is to provide a roof over your head, food on the table, and money in your pocket. This is politics as usual. Playing the silly game. It's not going to happen. The rent too damn high movement, the people I'm here to represent can't afford to pay their rent. They're being laid off right now as I speak. They can't eat breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Listen, someone's stomach, child's stomach just growled. Did you hear it? got to listen like me.
Okay.
Let's talk about the issue.
Mr.
People can't afford to pay their
Cuomo,
rent.
30 seconds for you, sir.
Rent is too damn.
I understand if your disdain for religion is stronger than mine, especially to queer folks that grew up under religious fundamentalism. Their struggle is way different than mine. So I can understand that they would love for religion to go away altogether. As for me, the grudge I held against religion is gone. I was never truly hurt by religion, other than some anxiety-inducing beliefs like the existence of Satan, who, by the way, not a real guy. But I pretty much had to deal with demons my entire life in some form. I do not blame religion entirely for ruining my mental state as a kid. Mine, diagnosed mental issues, lack of health care, and absent mother is more than enough to derail a young mind. I'm not mad at God for not helping. I'm mad at the system that made God my only help. So perhaps if it wasn't for my mental issues and my mom actually having some time to be a good mother, I would probably still be a believer today, since as a straight, whitish male, religion mostly benefits me. It was built to uphold the patriarchy after all. In many ways, religion, when used the right way, can make society progress in many ways, especially if you actually follow the example set by Jesus Christ. If Jesus the man was here, he would be fighting for a more equal society and a free Palestine. Sure, the colonists used the Bible to justify their subjugation of other humans, but these greedy motherfuckers would have found some other justification to keep black folks in servitude. Even after the abolishment of slavery, powerful people used the so-called justice system to keep the capitalist machine churning. They kept coming up with new ways to enslave free black folks. They locked up innocent men in many cases and then rented them out to various businesses and farmers. We still have people out there picking cotton while a hog sits on a horse. So what I'm trying to say is that slavery would have happened and been justified no matter what. The colonists didn't need the Bible to justify the violation of other people's humanity. The benefits were just too lucrative for those in power not to do slavery. A lot of folks love to invoke Jesus' name and claim they will do it all for him. But anytime someone demands that they be more like Jesus, love thy neighbor, care for the sick, feed the hungry, turn the other cheek, all that good stuff, the people in power will probably have them assassinated like they did Martin Luther King. Dr. King was an anti-war socialist, and that's why the FBI killed him. Allegedly. Do your own research, look it up.
No revolutionary gets old, or so I'm told. You're left full of bullet holes when you tell the people go free. Oh, it's a matter of days before they try to take me.
Christianity and liberation theology was used by abolitionists to organize their fight for the emancipation of black folks, since it was one of the few places where the racist government couldn't silence you. Church bombings aside, of course. Despite all the past violence, these black churches still organize to fight fascism, even if it is behind the most status quo politicians. And I won't get into black people's business any further than that. I'll put a link to Lil Bill's video down below. The Catholic Church can be very problematic, especially the more Caucasian ones. We even have some of these late converts trying to bring back the Crusades. This fuckboy even has the tattoos. Either that or he's a Nazi.
Either way
is bad.
I do know animals.
I fell in love with a Catholic woman, and to make my marriage work, I had to make a few sacrifices, like getting married through the Catholic Church, which requires family planning classes, which by the way are crazier than Mel Gibson, who's also a Catholic, and racist. Inside those classes I heard a bunch of lies and terrible life advice. Homegirl said, have as many kids as possible. Don't worry about having enough time and money to support them. And don't worry about going to college. God will help.
That's when the blessings come in. Blessings come in.
This was supposed to be a class to teach us how to not get pregnant. And we're supposed to listen to a lady with 9 kids. Meanwhile, her husband keeps crying about gender ideology, whatever the hell that is. They just lied to us about birth control. According to them, anything other than a cream pie will give you cancer, strokes, heart attacks, and you're going to hell if you pull out.
May Allah awaken the people and help them to see the evil doings of Israel and the United States.
Islam is a peaceful religion that lived amongst Jews and Christians for all its existence. But just like any other religion, they have some assholes that do not represent Islam as a whole. But even those extremists had material circumstances that led to those extremes. After the 9/11 attacks, anyone that looked Arab had become a target. Islamophobia had become mainstream. Jeff Dunham and Carlos Mencia made a whole career out of it, along with the new atheist movement, who were just a bunch of asshole grifters like Richard Dawkins and Sam Harris. Let's also not forget the most accomplished fell son of all time, George W. Bush. He said he invaded an innocent country for the oil because God told him to, even if Iraq had absolutely nothing to do with the 9/11 attacks. Saddam was a bad guy, although not bad enough not to be held by the US to kill Iranians. We killed over 1 million of his people, and every single death was a war crime. Most of them were just defending their homes, true patriots who loved their country and died defending it. Shout out to those brave Iraqi soldiers. R.I.P. Kings.
If I must die, you must live. To tell my story, to sell my things, to buy a piece of cloth and some strings, make it white with a long tail, so that a child somewhere in Gaza, while looking heaven in the eye, awaiting his dad who left in a blaze and bid no one farewell, not even to his flesh, not even to himself, sees the kite, my kite you made, flying up above, and thinks for a moment an angel's there, bringing back love. If I must die, let it bring hope. Let it be a tale.
Islamophobia has made a huge comeback. And it's so bad that most Americans don't even pay attention to people getting slaughtered with our tax dollars by Israel. The mainstream media also plays their part to keep people unaware of the atrocities our government is complicit in.
It's like the failing New York Times, which is like so bad.
Israel is led by religious extremists who believe that they are God's chosen people and that that land was given to them by God himself. Some of these cats are godless and just do it because they're fascists and white supremacists. We continue to support these terrorists because here in America, many Christians believe that fulfilling some prophecy will bring the second coming of Jesus and he will deal with the Jews. Which sounds kind of anti-Semitic if you ask me. Look, I don't care if you hate religion and you think it's silly and completely made up. Sure, all that is true. But even atheists believe in capitalism, so they're not right about everything. At the end of the day, I believe religion is necessary, especially for addicts that can only stay clean because they think the Lord's watching. Since our society would never give them the actual help that they need. And if you think your churches and your local police departments have a child molester problem today, imagine if these hogs were not afraid of God. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, all that. Or if you want to see me and praise my work, you can catch me in the streets of Dallas.